This is going to be my 4th devlog of my parkour game, Project Terminal. My focus this time was the map. Alongside the map, I made other changes to the game as well. I posted my previous devlog on Reddit and received a bunch of positive feedback. Someone suggested that I should make the speedlines dynamic so that the amount of speedlines is proportional to the velocity of the player. I completely agreed and thought it was a great idea. As I addressed in my previous devlog, the speedlines were a little bit too much to the point where it became a visual distraction. By making the dynamic speedline system, I can reduce the number of speedlines when the player is just running. Apart from that, I've also reduced the opacity of the speedlines. Another point that I received was about the grappling hook shooting mechanism. In a game where you don't have a crosshair in the center of the screen, it's often very difficult to precisely aim and shoot a grappling hook at your desired point. For example, it can be hard to align the center of the screen to a corner of an object. If you've watched my last devlog video, you probably know that the solution that I came up with is by using Spherecast. But there's one small problem with this method, which is addressed by Mugi League Gaming. I'm sorry if I've pronounced your name incorrectly. Here's a quick example to explain the issue. Let's say there are two colliders in front of the player. The player would like to grapple to an object that's further away from them, so they'd focus their center of screen to this object. However, the object that's closer to the player interferes, and the Spherecast returns this object if the collider is within the Spherecast's radius. This is happening because the Spherecast gets shot from the player's position. Ideally, in most situations, we want to prioritize a collider that's closer to the center of the screen, rather than a collider that's closer to the player. Mugi League Gaming, again, I'm sorry if I've pronounced your name wrong, also talked about a possible solution I could use. Thank you. The solution that he came up with is to first fire a line of raycasts to see if there's any object in front of the player. If there isn't any, then perform the Spherecast operation to find the nearest point. By using this solution, the grapple shooting mechanic is essentially prioritizing the center of the screen, which is the behavior I want. With that being said, an indicator to show where the grapple hook will be attached might still be needed, especially for more skilled players. One of my goals while making this game is to not have any UI elements, so this is something I want to avoid if I can. I'll most likely be doing some public beta testing once the game is somewhat in playable state and hear what others think about the shooting mechanism. I don't think a subtle indicator would be problematic after all. Just vaulting felt a little too limiting. There definitely had to be something done to the player's movement when they were on the ground. Climbing sounded like a good parkour mechanic to add. To be honest, the climbing system on its own wasn't hard to make. What ended up being more difficult, at least for me, was finding the right controls for the climbing system, and of course, the animations. My first idea with the climbing method was to let players rapidly tap the jump button against the wall. I originally thought this would be a good idea, because then I could make it so that the player's climbing speed can be proportional to the tapping speed. If the player wants to kick back from the wall, they would hold the spacebar for a certain period of time and then release it. These controls made the parkour experience less smooth. And this didn't work out very well, mostly because it was too inconsistent. So I scrapped this whole climbing control code and reworked it. This time, the player climbs up the wall as long as they hold the jump button. When they tap on the jump button, quickly after they release the button, the player kicks back. This made the climbing experience much smoother. Alternatively, I could have maybe used another keybind for the climbing system. Although I dislike the concept of having a lot of keybinds or having a different keybind for every single action. Another problem that I've had with the climbing system is the animations. I actually had to go through multiple iterations to make a decent animation. Making these animations look somewhat decent took too much time. In the end, I got something that I'm okay with. Honestly, I'm still not entirely satisfied, but I think with some camera animations and particle effects added, it would look fine. The map was my primary focus this week. I tried to get as many things done as possible. The problem that I have with the map design at the moment is that I know what I want to have on the map, but it's hard to put all of them together. For example, I would like to have some action going on indoors too. As much as I want to have a lot of smaller rooms around the map, creating a map that is functional indoors and outdoors is very tricky. Even if it can serve its functional purposes, the visuals can often look odd. I think the biggest challenge in map creation in my case is to get a good balance between indoor and outdoor action. Otherwise, I've noticed that the map is too empty. Sure, a lot of empty spaces mean that the player has the freedom to grapple around the map, but the map was just too big and empty to a point where the map didn't feel very interactive. It was rather boring. Besides, in this specific tutorial room, the grappling hook won't even be introduced. My approach is to add more obstacles around the map that the player can vault over. Specifically, because the main point of this map is tutorial, adding more obstacles to help master players' movement sounded like a good idea to me. Additionally, I've made a small room where the player learns knife mechanics. When the player first starts the game and drops into this building, the player does not have any weapons equipped, so there has to be an area where the player acquires their primary weapon. I've then added a glass panel that can be shattered into pieces. My expectations from the player is to make them break the glass by using the dash attack. I thought this would be a visually cool way to get players into the game. This also indirectly tells players that the glasses can be broken with their weapon. So theoretically, I could add more breakable glasses to the other maps. Furthermore, I would also like to add different challenges or smaller details to the map. To achieve this, I decided to create more rooms within the big building. This way, I can place distinctive elements or challenges in the individual rooms. This is a simple approach to create a contrasting environment, as each room will serve a unique purpose. That's how much I've done for the past 2 weeks. Unfortunately, the map is still incomplete, so I'll have to work on it more. As I've roughly mentioned earlier, the climbing system and other parkour related actions seem too boring right now. I'll have to work on the visuals of them as well. Regarding the parkour mechanics, I think I'm somewhat satisfied with the movement as of right now. I'll most likely adjust the existing ones to make it feel right to the game rather than adding a new mechanic. Aside from that, I have a quick announcement to make. In case you didn't realize, I usually upload my videos every 7 to 10 days, with my Project Terminal devlog coming every other video upload. But I think from now on, I'll most likely upload a video every 2 weeks. 7 to 10 days for me is not enough time to entirely work on a project, write a script, and then edit the video. I can only get so many things done for my projects. I believe it's better to focus on the quality of the video rather than the quantity anyway. This has been Semicoder. I kind of know how to code.